I'm sorry. I was working out. I know it's late Friday night. I'm out here in Los Angeles, but I was working out. Ernestine's waiting for me to eat dinner. Hazel's waiting on me to eat dinner. Working out, lifting weights. And the news broke, and it broke me in half. And I just said, I got to get it off my chest. I got to unleash. My worst nightmare is now my Dallas Cowboy reality. I don't know how much more I can take. Mike McCarthy's best buddy just replaced him as the next Mike McCarthy, quote unquote, head coach of my Dallas Cowboys. Translation, next in line to be Jerry Jones' puppet is Brian Schottenheimer. I am shot in the heart. I'm shot in the gut. I'm gut shot by Shotty. Brian Schottenheimer is the head coach. If you told me this a week ago, I would have laughed in your face. Brian wait, the guy who was out of work 3 years ago, and Mike McCarthy gave him a gig as the consultant to Mike McCarthy in the offense because he didn't have a job. Brian Schottenheimer is the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys. The guy who was elevated, promoted to offensive coordinator when Mike McCarthy was the offensive coordinator. Mike McCarthy called every play. Brian Schottenheimer didn't do much of anything but hang with Dak. Dak likes him, so he's the head coach. Jerry likes him because he knows he can run over him, control him, order him around, veto him, put him back in his place, put him back in his box every Sunday night. He's the head coach. Brian Schottenheimer? I mean, I don't know if you know Monty Python, but they did this movie. They're funny guys. It's crazy British humor. You probably don't know them, but they did this thing, Life of Brian. They should do another one, The Life of Brian Schottenheimer. It's a satire. It's a joke. It's a comedy. Don't get me started. Brian Schottenheimer. We could have Brian Flores. I like Brian Flores. I thought he got a raw deal in Miami. He was out there as viable candidate. So let me just trace this back quickly for you. A year ago, we could have had Dan Quinn. He was sitting right under our nose. Cap on backwards. Cap on backwards, Dan Quinn. I know Shotty puts his on backwards, but Dan Quinn, cap on backwards, basically was the unofficial head coach, but he's pretty full of himself because he was a really good head coach for a while. In Atlanta, he got a team to 28-3 up on Brady and Belichick in a Super Bowl. Look at him now. You notice what he's doing in Washington? I don't know. They're playing Philadelphia to get to the Super Bowl, Jerry. Could have had him. I thought he was right in line. They kept him a couple of years when he was big candidate in the head coach cycle. They kept him, gave him a big raise. I thought he was being kept on ice until Mike McCarthy finally ran his course in Dallas. And after we were down 27-0 in the first half of a home playoff game as the 2 seed against the youngest team in the playoffs, the Green Bay Packers, a year ago, I thought that was it. I thought game over. I thought Dan Quinn? Yeah, Dan Quinn? No, not. Jim Harbaugh was out there. I beat the table for Jim Harbaugh. No, Jerry's not going to go after Jim. He's too big. He's too strong. He's too powerful. He's made man coming off a college championship. He's his own man. My way or the highway, Jerry. Sorry. I'm sorry. I have no idea how this happened. I'm looking at texts I'm getting from friends just laughing their asses off at me. Laughing their asses off, and they should. I would too. All the viable candidates were out there. I mean, obviously, Deion was a dream candidate. I kept telling you, Deion's not leaving Colorado. But even if Jerry enticed him, there's only one way Jerry could turn his head back to Dallas, where he was born to be the next coach of the Cowboys. He's going to have to give him total control. Not just money, but power. Power, way more important in Dallas than money. No, because what if Deion came in and turned the culture on its head, turned the team around and won? Deion would get all the shine, all the credit, all the notoriety, all the attention. It would be Deion's world, and Jerry would be a little tiny sideshow, as he should be at 82. Pete Carroll, okay, he was overqualified for this job. He won a college championship. He won a pro championship. He turned cultures around. He's a fireball of energy, even at 73, going on 33. He would come in and say, enough of this country club. Focus on defense. Here we go. No, it's too big for Jerry. Too big a threat. Too much aura. Too much mystique. Too much legacy. Nope. Ben Johnson's out there. Aaron Glenn's out. I liked Aaron Glenn. I don't see Ben Johnson. I think he's too mousy, but that's what I call Kellen Moore. And you know what? I'm sitting here tonight, distraught, lost, thinking I would have taken Kellen Moore in a heartbeat over Brian Schottenheimer. At least Kellen Moore went out there on his own. At least he learned with the Chargers, and at least he learned in Philadelphia how to get a team. It's a talented team. I picked him before the year, but in part because Kellen was there. He's really good at what he does. He can be a little mousy himself, but I'd take him over Brian Schottenheimer just because he's been there and done that. I hope they win. I picked him to win Sunday. Love to see Kellen Moore in the Super Bowl, win a Super Bowl, but maybe Jerry started getting cold feet about Kellen Moore. Maybe he's getting too full of himself. Maybe he's getting a little too big for his britches, Jerry's thinking. Maybe he would start to be too big a threat to Gerald Wayne Jones Jr., owner and operator of our Dallas Cowboys. We are stuck to death with Jerry Jones. Stuck. I'm watching texts come in as I speak, shaming me, ridiculing me. I don't blame you. Fire away. I deserve it. Brian Schottenheimer. Jerry's going to try to sell him. Mark my words. I told you this from the start. He's going to try to sell him as a chip off a great old block. Old Marty Schottenheimer. Highly respected coach. Yeah, he was highly respected, but he was just a very good coach. He wasn't a great one. What was Marty known for? Not winning the big one. Oh, that should make his son the perfect head coach for the Dallas Cowboys. His father couldn't win the big one. Marty Schottenheimer, Coach of the Year, 2004, couldn't win the first game. Marty Schottenheimer went from Coach of the Year in the National Football League to losing in San Diego a home playoff game to the New York Jets. Lost a home playoff game in overtime, albeit in overtime, 20-17, but he lost a home playoff game as the Coach of the Year. Does that sound like anybody you know? Marty would have made a great head coach of the Dallas stinking Cowboys, right? Marty was 5-13 in the postseason. He lost 13 postseason games. They got there a lot, and then they lost a whole lot. 5-13 was his father, Marty. Nice man, Marty. Dynamic personality, old Marty. Spawned a lot of coaches. A lot of assistants went on to glory in the National Football League, but not Marty. He did wind up in the Kansas City Chiefs Hall of Fame because he had a nice long run there, but they didn't get to any Super Bowls or win any Super Bowls. It ain't like it is now in Kansas City. Marty Schottenheimer, I've tried to tell you. I tried to tell Jerry. I tried to back him into a corner. Then he called Pete Carroll because I was banging on the table for Pete Carroll. At least talk to him. Bring him in for an interview. No, I'll talk to him. I'll call him. That was yesterday. I'll call him just to say, hey, just checking in, seeing how you're doing. By then, Pete's just about signed, sealed, and delivered to the Raiders. Way to go, Raiders. Congratulations. You got a real football coach. Way to go, Tom Brady. You got Pete Carroll. He almost beat you in a Super Bowl, had you dead to rights in a Super Bowl. You know what happened. Tom knows Pete Carroll's a real, live, made man football coach. unlike anything we've had in Dallas for a long, long time, since Parcells, but really since Jimmy Johnson. Since Jerry fired Jimmy, we haven't had a real live in-power football coach in Dallas, Texas, because Jerry took the franchise over. Brian Schottenheimer, I tried to tell you, he's been coaching for 28 years in the National Football League, 28 years, and he's changed jobs 13 times. What does that tell you about Brian Schottenheimer? Why would you have to change jobs 13 times if you're that guy, if you're destined to be the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys? Why did you, Brian Schottenheimer, get fired in Seattle by Pete Carroll? Over philosophical differences. I don't know the exact story, but it blew up. It blew all apart. Brian Schottenheimer, he's never been a head coach because he's never been offered a head coaching job in 28 years. He's 51 years of age, and nobody in the National Football League until now has offered him a head coaching job. Why? There are a lot of smart people around this league. A lot of hiring cycles have happened since he came in at 20, whatever he was, 3, 24, 22, whatever he was, from there to now, 22, I guess. He came right out of school. He got a job out of nepotism. His father gave him his first job. Mike McCarthy was assigned to show him the ropes. They became good buddies. They became Thursday night nacho and beer buddies, burrito buddies. That's how he got to Dallas, and that's why he never got a head coaching job the whole way. Nobody liked him. Nobody believed he was made of that stuff, that commanding officer stuff, that leadership stuff. Brian Schottenheimer went to age 51 as the chip off the old block. People around the league, when they say, oh, like father, like son. Nobody said it, Jerry. Nobody said like father, like son. Nobody except you. Because you got to know him, and you know you can control him. You can railroad him. You can run over him. You can leave him high and dry. You can still be the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys. I've said this before. I wish Jerry would have just named himself the head coach. At least it'd be fun. It'd be interesting. It'd be a lot more exciting than Brian Schottenheimer. Here we go again with a Mike McCarthy-like clone. He's probably got a little more personality than Mike. I have seen him wear his hat on backwards occasionally. Dak likes him. That's all that matters. Dak likes him. He'll just keep running the same country club. Nobody will be held accountable. Players will like him. They'll vouch for him. They'll endorse him. Because he'll just keep doing what good old Mike was doing, which is, it's okay, guys. Pat him on the rump. Pat him on the back. Pat him on the head. Tell him it's okay. So what? We're down 27-0. So what? We got blown out in the first half of our home opener by the New Orleans Saints, who were destined to fall completely apart. So what if the Ravens came in and just ran us off the field by halftime? So what if Detroit came in and just annihilated us, embarrassed us by halftime? It was over. So what if the Eagles and the Texans, I could go on, they came in, the game's over at halftime. So what? Well, was Brian Schottenheimer responsible at all, culpable? I don't know. I don't even know what he did. Mike McCarthy called all the plays and strategized. I guess he drank beer with old Mike on Thursday night, maybe Friday afternoon. I don't know. Good buddies, coaching kind of clones. So Jerry said, well, I'll take that clone. I know that clone. I can control that clone. Brian Schottenheimer, are you kidding me? Mike Vrabel was out there. He's a stud, man. He's got guts. He's got balls. He's a commanding officer. He's a general. New England said, yeah, we'll do that. Gerard Mayo, we tried, failed. He wasn't quite what we thought. We want a real live football coach, and they got one. He was out there. We could have had him, but no, he's way too big a threat to Jerry Jones. He wouldn't want no part of this. Back to what Troy Aikman said. a couple of weeks back. Nobody covets this job. Nobody wants this job. It's down to a Brian Schottenheimer. Shot in the heart. Shoddy. Shoddy. We're shoddy now. That's all we can draw. It's just, it's just a disaster.